an interview series on the culture of peace, conversations with leaders of change, inaugural segment by Ambassador Anwarul K. Chowdhury. Following the 25th anniversary of the UN Declaration and Program of Action on a Culture of Peace in 2024, SGI launched the Culture of Peace interview series to help build new momentum in the coming decades. This series features leaders of change from the United Nations officials, experts, scholars to advocates, in particular from amongst women and the young people, at national, regional, and global levels. Our aim is to raise awareness and bring attention to the power each one of us has to foster the culture of peace through our daily actions. We believe that this in turn will help the United Nations effectively carry out its work for a more powerful, just, and sustainable world. Ambassador Anwarul K. Chowdhury is former Under-Secretary General and High Representative of the United Nations and founder of the Global Movement for the Culture of Peace. He served as a permanent representative of Bangladesh to the United Nations from 1996 to 2001, in which capacity he chaired the 9-month-long negotiations resulting in the consensus as mandated by the UN General Assembly, and introducer of the agreed text of that document on behalf of all member states for adoption by the Assembly on the 13th of September 1999. This is the second of 3 episodes called Champions of Peace, the Eminent and Notable Advocates of the Culture of Peace and Their Contributions.
The Declaration on the Culture of Peace had very strongly emphasized the individual dimension of the establishment of the culture of peace as a part of human society's work. So that is why I feel very gladly. And then it is also, we should know that the Culture of Peace Declaration of the United Nations mentioned 5 actors who will implement it. And that I will tell now so that we can go to the next area. The first actor is, of course, the member states. Of course, they adopted it. It is their declaration, their program of action by consensus. So that is why it is there. They should implement it. Second is the civil society. So first UN document, which immediately after the member states, civil society has been given a high place, that civil society will do this. The third is also interestingly, is the media, information structure of multilateralism or bilateral way or in the national way. So the media has a big role which has been given. Fourth is the individuals. Individuals mean anybody from any professional background or livelihood background or cultural background can become an actor in promoting culture of peace, because it mentions about individual transformation. So if I'm a doctor, I shouldn't say, oh, it's not my work, it is the diplomats who will do. No, as a doctor, as an engineer, as a religious leaders, everybody has a role to play. So that's why teachers, artists have done a big thing for culture of peace in big way. So that is why that number 4 point is very, very significant. And no other UN resolutions have this kind of individual dimension. And then number 5, of course, as it is an UN document, the United Nations. But we decided to put UN at the last because we thought it's UN document, UN is adopting, so it doesn't matter whether it last or fast, because they will be taking the lead in promoting this as a General Assembly resolution. So these are the actors who work on it, and I think if we can encourage these 5 sets of actors to do their bit, we will have a wonderful path. But it is not always possible. And member states, though they are at the topmost, they were not the most active group. Because you should understand, member states are the governments elected, if they are elected governments, by their people. And they change, many countries 5 years, many countries 4 years. Within that time frame, they change. Sometimes they continue to get voted into power, or they lose power. They are not there. So, for a 5-year term of office, it is not a priority, because culture of peace needs time. And so that is the problem. So that is why I believe that member states are not keen on promoting something. They would like to do things as their agenda, which will get them votes to get re-elected. So either election or re-election is an objective, and in that context, culture of peace does not find any attraction to them. So that is why it is not. But we had a different motivational. I was a senior special advisor to the 67th General Assembly President, Ambassador Nasser Abdullah Al-Nasser. Nasser Al-Nasser was really a visionary person, and we together, he asked my opinion. He was very supportive of culture of peace, and he said what we can do. So I said, and I consulted also Federico Mayor, who was at that time Director General of UNESCO, about I think by that time he had left. So he was a private person, so with his Foundation for Culture of Peace. So anyway, so we decided to launch a high-level forum on the culture of peace, convened by the President of the General Assembly in 2012. So thereby it was decided that it will be a day-long engagement convened by the each president of the GA every year on an annual basis, on a day-long basis. And first part of the day, from 10 to 1, will engage the member states. They will say what we think about culture of peace and how at the national level we are implementing it. And the second part would be, again, some member states, some secretariat, some civil society members will come in a civil society forum. They will come to share their role, as the Culture of Peace document showed the 5 actors. They will come in one way. So this was after member states was the civil society. So that was very relevant to have the second part of the day devoted to civil society participation. And there, the partner with the Office of the President of the General Assembly and the UN Secretariat was the Global Movement for the Culture of Peace, a civil society coalition organization. And so I believe that helped to engage member states for the first time. So I, on behalf of the Global Movement for the Culture of Peace, we supported this for 10 years, from 2012 to 2022, even during the COVID period we did. But we continued the civil society, and also some member states joined. So we observed the 25th anniversary of the Culture of Peace document last year, with some member states, some civil society, and I think your organization, SGI UN, joined in that effort, and I take this opportunity to thank all of you to support it in a big way. And so that is still continuing, and hope we will have that also in this September, because September has been chosen because the adoption date of this document is 13th September 1999. And so we had observed 10th anniversary here with civil society again. We observed the 20th anniversary at the United Nations. By that time, high-level forum is already on. So the PGA at that time, she organized a huge thing. And then I should say that this forum has another unique distinction, that it is the only UN platform which had the participation of the largest number of Nobel Peace laureates. In 10 years' time, we had 6 Nobel laureates, all women, who came to address the General Assembly, or the forum, rather. So this is, I take a lot of satisfaction and pride in this, that we could, we found that Nobel laureate, peace laureates, men, get invited to various forums, they do these things, but women peace laureates somehow get sidetracked or not recognized as that they should be. So we thought, when we have the opportunity to bring them to the UN, let's do that. And so it was a wonderful sort of thought that came to me, and then we decided to reach out to them. And they are really, some came twice, like Lima Boy came twice to our forum. So these are the special things that we could do with the high-level forum, because the United Nations do not have a system of, I think I had proposed that, to have the Nobel Peace Laureate every year to be brought and given a rousing reception in the United Nations, because they have earned their sort of cause, their contribution to the cause of peace. So why not? So there was nothing. One person, I did it on my own when I was Under Secretary General, was my fellow countryman, Professor Yunus. So I invited him to come and arranged a meeting in Conference Room 4. Kofi Annan was supposed to come. I was the Under Secretary General at that time. So I could reserve a room and do all these things. And Kofi Annan agreed to come, but then he was taken away for a mission outside New York. So in his place, the then Deputy Secretary General, Mark Malloch Brown, came. And Mark Malloch Brown knew Professor Yunus as when he was working for the World Bank. So that is why he readily came, and we had a wonderful time. But he is the only person who has been formally welcomed in the United Nations. Secretaries General met with the UN, a Nobel Peace Laureate individually. When they learned that they are in New York, his office reached out to them, like Tawakkul Karman from Yemen. She came to meet Ambassador Nasser when he was PGA. And she met also Ban Ki-moon. He was Secretary General. So this is something which UN should do. I mean, this is the minimum. Nobel Committee is not a global committee, but the United Nations is a global organization. They should recognize her or his contribution to the global peace. Sometimes I have doubts about greatest or most effective leader or leader as such, because we encourage students, staff, everybody. You are the leader. You will become a leader. Then if all of us are leaders, and then whom do we lead? So everybody is a leader. But in a group of 100, there's only one leader. What happens to those 99 people? Are they good or no good? So it's wrong on our part, who are in a position to say something about it, not to encourage everybody to become a leader. Become a dedicated activist. That is what I believe is important. Otherwise, even for culture of peace, we don't need many leaders. We need activists. That they will talk about it. They will inculcate in their own self, the culture of peace, the objective of culture of peace. So that's why, if you say, who are the greatest leaders or greatest persons who inculcated culture of peace, I should say, I don't need world leaders or something. Today's leader is not tomorrow's leader. If they are a political persons, if their party is not in power, they are no longer either president or prime minister or even minister. So I think my encouragement comes from when I see common people embracing culture of peace. I have seen that in various parts of the world. I have seen it in Africa, West Africa. I had been visiting many times, and I found women there, and in most cases elderly women have been the biggest champion of culture of peace. And I am proud that globally that is the thing I am dreaming about, that common people will be peaceful, will believe that peace and non-violence is part of my daily existence. And I will achieve my goals of life if there is a peaceful existence amongst all of us. We cannot reach our goals in a conflict situation where the war is going on. You cannot do anything properly. So to get to our goals, we need peaceful existence. Not only as there is no war, no. End of war is a part of the peace process, but more important, the end of discrimination, end of hatred, end of prejudice. So these are the important things. So when a society will have those things, we will find a peaceful society. Many countries are not in war, but I say they are at war within themselves, because they discriminate their people. They do not give women their rights. They do not give the children the opportunity to participate equally. So that is why I believe that it is important to see common people to go. And that way I can say that civil society generated engagement of common people have been very good. for the culture of peace. I think civil society has been the most active actor among the 5 to promote culture of peace. And we are now trying to, through the high-level forum, trying to get the member states. But also important is the professional involvement, say doctors, engineers, teachers, religious leaders, should all put this as a core work of their engagement as a positive human being, as a person who believes that he or she has a responsibility to global peace and cooperation. So that is what I believe that. But talking about again the important people, yes. I talk about the Nobel Peace laureates. I think they have been wonderful. We had the privilege of learning in 2021 that the organization called Mayors for Peace, which is a global organization with 8,000 cities as its parts in nearly 170 countries. This organization is working since 1982, and they are a grassroots-based organization centering around cities, and I believe that is and coincidentally that organization is based in Hiroshima, Japan. And they bring in mayors from various parts of the world. In 2022, I was invited to speak at their 40th anniversary, and particularly to sort of listen from me about the culture of peace. Because in 2021, Mayors for Peace has 2-point mission. One was global nuclear disarmament. Naturally, in Hiroshima, that is the obvious thing because of the only nuclear weapon that was used there in that city and Nagasaki. And then they had second idea, because they are mayors, so safe and resilient cities. So that was the second mission, that we are mayors, we are for disarmament, are also making our cities safe. And then they added third one, promoting the culture of peace. So that is a big thing for our 25th anniversary to celebrate. I went, and they wanted to listen from me about the culture of peace and what they can do. And so that is what, when I also brought in the community level participation for culture of peace. So that was the point. And then we had also 2022, during the Paris Olympics. That was last year, I think, Paris Olympics now, 2024. But 2022, the late Pope Francis wrote a book called Against War, Building a Culture of Peace. The title of that book was that. And that honored all of us in a big way, that he chose the phrase culture of peace for the title of the book, and Against War. And then in 24, of course, the Olympics movement recognized culture of peace in the inaugural and the closing ceremonies in a big way. The president of the Olympics mentioned culture of peace time and again. And then the Sustainable Development Goals and Goal 4 on education mentioned about the culture of peace and nonviolence. It mentioned about women's equality. It mentions about global citizenship also, which is very, very important. And then Last year, because of the 25th anniversary, the theme for the International Day of Peace, which is also on 21st September, was cultivating a culture of peace. So that was the first time that this theme was taken in honor of the culture of peace. So we are moving there slowly, but I think a critical mass will come when we can have enough common people asking for peace. So that's why I would give more value to those civil society generated activism among the common people. And also, I think another goal would be to have young children coming up with the encouragement to become a peaceful and nonviolent citizen. They are, of course, they are learning to embellish their own careers, own lives as a productive citizen. But also, they should come out to be a productive global citizen. That is very important. So there are things which can be done as our common effort for global culture of peace.
Thank you for watching Episode 2, Champions of Peace. Be sure to watch the other episodes with Ambassador Chowdhury.